Good afternoon and welcome back to the Workbench. Today I'm having a look at this Bluetooth speaker here, which I picked up for a few dollars as not working and listed as the fault being a broken charge port, USB port. So I'm going to have a look at that and see if I can fix it. I have no idea if it's any good, no idea if there's any other faults with it. I guess we'll find out. It looks quite nice, doesn't it? I mean, it's got a little sort of a vintage style speaker cabinet style thing to it with the fabric sort of wrapping there. It's got a nice metal grill, or what appears to be metal. Could be plastic, faking as metal, I don't know. It's got a handle at least, which is nice. Better than some of these things which have no handles at all. And it's got various buttons on the back. Obviously this thing's completely flat, or something. Press the power button, nothing happens whatsoever. So, yeah. Here's time to pull it apart, see what happens. Alright, so first of all we've got to figure out how to get inside it. So, something like the back here anyway. This is a Bluetooth portable speaker, model number BS503E, assuming the BS stands for Bluetooth speaker and not bad sound, although it could be. These things are not usually that great in terms of audio quality. Although this one does look fairly nice, who knows what it sounds like. It's by Home&Co, which I think is a brand from Kmart. It does look like some sort of thing they could have sold a few years ago, going by the general style of it. So yeah, it's got the nice set of buttons on the back. It's got a play pause button, it's got volume up, volume down obviously, power button there, which you see doesn't do anything, auxiliary input, which is quite nice. It's got the micro USB port, which isn't there anymore, and it's got the battery LED indicator, I assume. Or it could be some sort of weird reset button to reset the battery, but I doubt it, that makes no sense. So the first thing I noticed with this, it's really annoying, is the fact they use a micro USB. On something this big, there's absolutely no need for that. There's no reason to use such a small connector. All it does is increase the risk of this happening, the thing getting broken. So, I mean, they could use a USB-B connector. Of course, the reason they don't, I guess, is because most people are going to be using a cell phone charger or something similar, which of course will have a micro USB on it to begin with. So they kind of make these to fit that, but I don't know why these things don't really make sense. The connector on this is not appreciably smaller than the mini USB, which probably would be a lot more robust. They just seem to like putting these tiny connectors on things, probably so they'll break. So you have to go and buy another one. It looks like the previous owner has had a go at it up here, kind of trying to lever the cabinet there, but that hasn't done anything. So it seems to be the case with a lot of these things. Looks like you're going from the front, so you just take a screwdriver or something and just lever at the front grill, and just pops off. Don't leave it too hard or you'll damage it, but it's got these little tabs there around the side. They just clip into little dimples on the front of this, and then we can see we have a few screws around the sides of the speakers there. So we can put that aside and have a look what's in there. So seem to be Phillips, and they go all the way down to the back, it looks like, so you'll need a fairly long screwdriver. This one should work. Yep. So there we go. It comes off like this. Is that a plug there? And there we go. So that shows you we've got a battery in there, and speakers there, and looks like a little control board down here, where you can see possibly the USB port has indeed snapped right off. It's just completely gone. So I'll just get that out. Unplug the speakers there. I don't know if I can unplug. Okay, have they done this? So the speakers unplug this way, and then the battery seems to be glued in there. See, there's some connector under there. That's for this, it looks like. So we've got this connector there for the rear buttons, and then some other kind of connector. I don't know what that's for. Seems to go off to the front somewhere. Maybe that's I don't know what that is. No idea. There we go, and then we've got the battery connector there, so just disconnect that. So we've got that there, and this is the little board here. I don't know what that... Oops. Now it's all falling out the front as well. Okay. Let's get that there. So this seems to be... Oh, it's a power LED. So this wire here goes to the front, goes to that. Looks like it's a... Yeah, it's probably a little blue LED that lights up when the thing's on. And in fact... you can see here, there's the USB port. It's actually come off. Don't know if that's going to show up, but you can see it's actually come off pretty cleanly. There is one track that looks like it's ripped on the end there. Yeah. So we've got one rip trace, but that should be easy to fix. Everything else looks alright. There's no other damage, no burning or anything. So that all looks good. So yeah. Just So yeah, it doesn't look like these pins. Doesn't look like this connector is using the data pins at all. It looks like it's just using the positive and negative purely for charging. So I guess this doesn't act as a Bluetooth audio device or anything. Looks like it's purely just power. So yeah, one option is to reattach this socket here, which still looks to be alright. Or the other option would be probably to just run two wires from these pads where this has come off, and add another port somewhere else. You could even put like a panel mount USB-B socket for robustness, but I think I can get away with reusing this one, in fact, which is quite good because I don't have to bother buying another port to fit it. Because unfortunately with these things is often the design, the design of the mounting pins and everything like that is often slightly different between every different brand, so you can't always get the thing easily. You know, I have about 3 different types spare parts that I have, and probably none of them would fit this because the shape of the mounting lugs is just slightly different. Anyway, so there we go. Looks like a little Class D amplifier here, little Bluetooth chip there, and probably charging controller, and probably some little micro somewhere, or maybe the Bluetooth module does all the control and everything. This looks like an EEPROM maybe. Yeah. Alright, so what's interesting about this battery here? Just want to see if that actually has any kind of charge left on it, I suppose. See if that's any good. I mean, the thing doesn't power on at all, so can assume that's because the battery is probably flat and hasn't been charged. But let's just make sure that's not like completely dead or anything. Let's see. I guess all these 3 wires should be in parallel, just for high current capability, or something. So what are we getting there? 2.5 volts. Yeah, so that's very low, but hopefully it'll be recoverable when the thing is back in operation. So yeah, let's reattach this and see if we can get it working.
Alright, you can see the damage to the board here. You can see the positive pin on the left, the trace has been ripped up. The other pins actually look pretty good. Like I said, I don't think the data pins are actually used. It looks like it's just negative and positive, so that's quite good. But fortunately everything else is still there. I'm kind of surprising that it came off that cleanly. Anyway, let's have a look at the socket. You can see it still looks intact. That piece of track there on the first pin on the left is still attached, so I should remove that. But yeah, I should just be able to run a piece of wire underneath that pin and just resolder the rest. Might actually just work fine. This connector here, all the pins on the inside look fine, so yeah, it's probably reusable. I'm going to get rid of the bit of trace that's still stuck on here, so take that off. Make sure those pins all look good, so they look alright. I think this is lead-free solder. It maybe it breaks more easily than the leaded stuff. Just sort of shears off. Maybe that's why it's like that and come off so cleanly. There we go. So I've just retinned those pads with lead solder. They look quite good. I'm just going to put some flux on here. Some nice sticky flux. Should help a lot. It's just this generic eBay stuff here. I'll just try flattening these pads down. That looks good. Just going to see if I can spot any veers on those data pins. No, doesn't look like it. Looks like they really are just using the positive and negative, so that's good. Makes it easier. It's only 2 pins you have to worry about getting connected. So I'm going to take a knife here and scrape away some of the solder mask on that trace for the positive connection. Everything else looks alright. Scrape up these ones where the connector is supposed to go. Alright. That should be pretty good. Some more of that flux. It's not going to look pretty, but it should work. So we've got a piece of wrap wire here. It's very thin, should be small enough. I'll try and use that. So, where did the connector go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I think with this I will need to try to do the wire on first, and then get that, then set the connector on top of it. Okay, so here's the bit of wire that I've put on there. So you can see I've soldered that onto the end of the other trace and then bent it around to where that original pad was. So I'll just trim it off and then solder the connector on top, and hopefully it'll work. We shall see. Anyway, yeah, I can't really show that because I just don't have the equipment. I'd need a microscope with a camera in it to actually show what I was doing. Otherwise the normal camera just gets in the way, it doesn't work. Yeah, anyway, that's what I've done there. So we shall continue and see what happens. Well, that didn't work very well, but then I had the clever idea to solder the jumper wire to the actual socket first, and then solder it to the board, which is what I'm going to try now and see if that works. Oh yes, that was a much better idea. So yeah, you can see hopefully the left pin soldered to ground, the right pin is connected to that jumper which goes to that trace, which is positive. I removed the 3 pads in the middle because it was just a pain. They don't actually connect to anything, and all they were doing was just shorting everything out to the other pins and making a mess, so it was just easier just to get rid of them. And I've soldered the side on quite nicely with some decent blobs of solder, so it shouldn't be likely to pull off anytime soon. So assuming that those connections are good and that there's nothing else wrong with this thing, then should have fixed the problem. So I'll just do a test to make sure there's nothing shorted, to continuity check between all those pins, and then I'll plug it back in and see what happens. Alright, so I've got the port back on the board there. It was a bit of a fiddly mission, but got there in the end. So I've just checked the continuity between the data pins on the cable plugged in to the well, actually the power pins, sorry, between the power pins and the connectors on the board, so that is correct, everything's going through, there's no shorts between that and any of the other pins, which again don't really matter because they're not actually connected to anything. There's no data transfer at this, it's purely for charging. But yeah, that's that all looks good, so time to reassemble the thing and see if it works. So let's just grab these bits here. So here's the main part. So what did we see here? That's the battery connector there. These are the speakers there. This is the front power LED, connects to this, and then you've got this other thing on the back which is the rear key for the play and volume buttons. So you've got to plug this one here in first. That LED goes to that connector there, right next to that capacitor. So that's the innermost one there. So that goes on there like that. Now I'll plug, well, so I've got to plug the key thing in. Plug the key thing in there. Now we can slide that to some extent back down in this hole. Can we? Let's see. Why don't we take the battery up first? There we go. Get that in under there. Is that actually correct? Yeah, that slots. That slots down. Let's see. It's a bit tight there. Okay. Yep. Alright, so that slots down to these little guides here. Ultimately you need to take the battery off first to do that, but just lifting it up on one end seems to work too. So that's back in there now. So now, yeah, plug the actual battery back in. Make sure that goes around the right way, obviously. Goes on there like that. And then we've got the 2 speaker wires. So, alright, that can go under there, I guess. Yeah, that works better. Alright. So that's everything there plugged in. So now, it'd be easier if I set this down here like it was before, wasn't it? Alright, so there we go. Everything is reattached. I guess the question now is to plug it into some power and see if it blows up. I mean, see if it works. Let's see, I'll plug it into my computer. It's probably a sensible idea. So let's plug that there. Got the other end, my computer here, and we should see probably a light come on. And we do! Look at that. So that's obviously the charge light. Now, let's see what happens if I hold this power button. Anything? No. I expect it won't power up because the battery is pretty much completely flat at this point. Like I said, it was only 2.4 volts or something. Sorry about the meter shot before, it was completely reflective, I couldn't see anything, but it was about 2.5 volts. So yeah, I guess I'll have to leave this to charge for a while. It's got two LEDs down there for charge, so I guess it turns green or blue or something when it's charged. So I'll have to I'll put this back together, leave it on charge, and wait till it finishes charging, and then I'll come back and see if it's working. Alright, so it's all back together, and I've charged it for a little bit, and I'll give it a test and see if it works. So just charging here on the end of extension cord, so the voltage is a bit low and the current's not as high as it could be. This extension cord's a bit rubbish, I think. So yeah, 500 milliamps, 4.5 volts. Plugged directly into the USB socket on the computer, it was getting 600 milliamps at 5 volts. So that seems good. I mean, the back of it says 1 amp, 5 volts, so yeah, on a proper charger I guess it would do that. But yeah, anyway, so now that it's charged a bit, I can turn it on. See if you get a blue light, you can hear that noise hopefully. It's flashing there, so that's activated. So if I just have a look on Bluetooth here. So let's see. So is it going to detect? There we go, we've got a KC4229. Yeah, that's the name of the key code. Okay, so it shows up, doesn't show up as its model number, it shows up as the key code. So, jeez. Okay, that was a bit loud. Alright. Okay. Right. Does seem to work. So that's a bit ridiculous how the name of the device is its key code, so anyone can just log into it. That's a bit ridiculous. Just turn the volume down a little bit so I don't blow my head off. And then let's see if we can play something. Do I have anything? Let's go on the let's go on YouTube and find something royalty free so we can see if it actually works. Okay. Royalty free music. I don't know. No idea. Let's see if it functions. I don't know if this mic will pick this up, but you should be able to hear it. It definitely works. Sounds pretty good actually. So that's nice. Not bad. Not bad indeed.
Nice. It's good. See if the play button works. Oh, yeah. Play pause works. Oh, that's pretty cool. So that works just fine. That's nice. So yeah, hopefully the battery is in good condition. If it is, then this will be quite a nice little speaker I can use. I guess. So yeah, just turn that off. There we go. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully that was enjoyable. See you next time.